Okay, so what we got here, Detroit might be interested in Tobias. Is there anything the Pistons have that could actually bolster this squad and improve the squad? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video today. But before we do that, make sure you like, subscribe, share the video, all that stuff there. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So obviously a couple reports came out that the Detroit Pistons might be interested in one of their former players. That is Tobias Harris. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. What do the Pistons have that Daryl Morey could potentially be interested in? Not much, actually, but one name that came into my mind was Bogdan Bogdanovic. Now, this one here will kind of divide opinion because you look at guys saying, oh, he's this, that, and the third. He's averaging 20 in Detroit. Let's get him here. But let me remind you guys, if Tobias Harris was in Detroit, we all know very well he can give you an efficient 20 as well. So it's not the point production which should intrigue anyone here. The only thing, in my opinion, that could be like a reason why Bogey would be a viable option is that he's a better shooter than Tobias, off the catch and off the move as well. He shot 40% from three in multiple seasons. You know, he's shooting around 40 now and around 6.5 attempts per game. So he's a high volume, high percentage 3-point shooter. And it's a thing where in Utah as well, he kind of fit the bill playing alongside Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Similarly, if he was in Philly, we're playing alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, would definitely be able to be a catch and shoot guy. But if you think and look deeper into it, you lose quite a bit with Bogey. The number one thing you lose, in my opinion, is cap flexibility. As much as Sixer fans want to potentially ship out Tobias because his players declined as of recent, you've got to think long term, or short term, I should say. Tobias Harris is an expiring contract and it's a valuable commodity because if there's teams that want to dump 2 or 3, maybe just one big contract, Tobias Harris is the guy to go to because he's expiring this summer. So he's actually a more valuable piece than I think a lot of people will actually give him credit for. So it's not really an asset I'm willing to dump for no reason. Fans complain about Tobias's defense and hustle. Well, guess what, guys? Bogey is actually taller than Tobias Harris and is averaging around 2 rebounds per game this season. So there's other things you need to look at and be like, on paper, does this make us better? Whereas if we just keep Tobias, let him expire this summer, he can either re-up on a much cheaper deal, but most likely half the money he's on right now, or we completely let him walk and we have $40+ million in cap space with all the other guys expiring. That's nearly 60. And you could then go for a guy like OG Anunoby, maybe overpay him. And the reason why overpaying a guy like OG isn't that bad is because he fits. Overpaying Tobias was a bad move because Tobias was a guy who, even when he was traded here, the fit wasn't amazing. But since we put all the eggs in one basket, trading those 2 first-round picks for him, Elton Brand had no choice. Maybe the contract wasn't overpaid, which it was, but that was the logic behind overpaying Tobias. In the case of OG, we know he fits, and there's no issue slightly overpaying fit and parts because you know it's going to be a core that's locked in and something that is going to work on the court. For example, look at Denver. Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. are overpaid. Michael Porter Jr. is earning nearly $40 million a year. Aaron Gordon close to like 25, if I'm not mistaken. Not gonna lie, it's a bit excessive, but no one blinks an eye at it because they both fit into what Denver's trying to do and are perfect fitting pieces around Jokic and Jamal Murray. So overpaying for the correct pieces is not really an issue. Also depends how much you overpay, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. So acquiring a guy like Bogey isn't really something which moves the needle that much, especially because maybe even if Bogey's an upgrade on Tobias, that could then hinder you acquiring OG Anunoby and other pieces in the offseason. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or even trading for OG. So that's what you got to think of too. Then outside of Bogey, you look at Alec Burks. I just don't see the need for Alec Burks in this roster right now. The only guy I'd probably see around the league that I'd be interested in acquiring is maybe a Malcolm Brogdon. Because going later into the season, early postseason, when Nick Nurse starts to shorten his rotation, there's a lot of guys playing right now, but I can guarantee Nico Batum is going to be in the rotation. But one of Marcus Morris and Rocco won't be. So is there a need for both of them if one of them's not going to be in the rotation? Who knows? So you look around the league and look at Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not saying trade anyone for anyone's sake, but we don't have a backup point guard. Patrick Beverley is nice, but fingers crossed, touch wood, that Tyrese Maxey does not get injured. But if he does, do I really trust Patrick Beverley to be the lead point guard? And who's then going to be after Pat Bev? I like Jaden Springer, but being the lead point guard off the bench, I'm not too sure. Not only with a guy like Malcolm Brogdon bring a lot of much needed secondary ball handling, he's also a guy you can rely on and put on the court next to Tyrese Maxey, who can also be a creator. So So that's a guy I would be interested in. We'll definitely be monitoring the situation to see what it would take to acquire a guy like Malcolm Brogdon. But overall, the whole bogey thing, Alec Burks, that doesn't really move the needle enough for me. Like, there's nothing there which is making me go, oh, let's pull the trigger. So, I mean, unless we're getting draft capital, which we're definitely not going to get from Detroit because they stink, I just don't really see the essence in going for a guy like Bogdanovic. And I feel like there's other angles we could take in order to improve this team. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. Is there anyone in particular you feel like Daryl Morey should try and acquire? Is there a potential team which you feel like has the right pieces? Do you want to move Tobias? Do you think, let's just deal with the rest of the season and get rid of him in the summer? That kind of angle there. Is Levine a guy you're still interested in? I don't really know. I just want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Me personally, the only guy I'd look into trading Tobias for is either Levine or DeRozan, preferably DeRozan. And my reason for that would be you'd give up less than you'd have to give up if it was for Levine. And if the DeRozan experiment goes wrong, guess what? He's expiring too. So there's not really much that's going to be of a negative. And it's going to be DeRozan plus someone else to match the salary. So if you don't have to give up anything more than the second round pick and acquire DeRozan and something else, I'd be willing to take a chance on that, because even though DeRozan is not a three-point shooter, unlike other non-shooters, non-three-point shooters, DeRozan is still a guy who shoots mid-range, so he still provides some sort of spacing because he does shoot jumpers and he hits them at a very high clip from mid-range. So I'd be intrigued by that. I'm not saying I'd do it. I'm just saying it is intriguing. But not to mention, he's also a very decent playmaker and someone who can also provide some creation and also facilitation at the wing position. So, you know what I mean? Just something to think about, some food for thought. But that's really it for this video today. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. More video ideas, what you guys want to see next, what kind of content you guys want to see next. I will be listening. I will be paying attention. But yeah, the Bulls are playing, the Sixers are playing the Bulls tonight. I don't know if I'll release this video before or after that game, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Stay blessed, my people, and I'm out. Peace.